WNBA and the league's demise now that Caitlin Clark is no longer going to play this season. The WNBA and the Indiana Fever, Stephanie White, Amber Cox, all the way up and including, let's just keep it real, Kathy Engelbert, Adam Silver, the National Basketball Association, everybody that participated in the
Breaking news in women's basketball. Rumors have swirled for weeks. Could Caitlin Clark be leaving the WNBA? Now, Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White appears to have dropped a bombshell confirmation. Clark is headed to Europe. In this segment, we break down what White is allegedly saying, what evidence exists, what's plausible, and what the real future might hold for the WNBA's biggest star. To understand the gravity of this claim, we need to step back. Caitlin Clark was the WNBA's most hyped rookie in 2024. Her entry shifted attention, viewership, and conversations about the future of women's pro basketball in the U.S. But with star power comes speculation. Now a narrative is emerging that after just a short time in the WNBA, Clark might be destined for Europe, possibly leaving the league behind.
Clark out for the remainder of the 2025 season, something we all think we knew was coming after what Stephanie White said earlier today. We couldn't be too sure until we see it for ourselves. And with this announcement from the GOAT's mouth herself, Caitlin Clark won't be returning this season, nor if the Indiana Fever make the...
Caitlin Clark was drafted first overall by the Indiana Fever in 2024. Her rookie year saw record-breaking ratings, jersey sales, and a renewed spotlight on women's basketball. However, the WNBA grind hit her hard. A packed schedule, physical defense, and the highest expectations in league history. Clark's playmaking and shooting electrified crowds, but the Fever struggled with chemistry and experience. By mid-2025, injuries, including groin and hamstring issues, sidelined her. Reports confirmed she would miss the rest of the season. Now, as she recovers, speculation about her next move intensifies.
It all started last year, in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail.
Online reports and fan discussions claim that Stephanie White confirmed Caitlin Clark is heading to Europe. The origin traces to interviews and discussions where White mentioned Clark's need for 5-on-5 basketball and continuing competition during the WNBA offseason. However, some YouTube channels and sports blogs twisted that into a headline suggesting Clark is leaving permanently. At this time, there is no official press release or major sports outlet verifying the claim. Still, the fact that White even discussed international play added fuel to the rumor.
Players and coaches of the last few days have complained without being fine-worthy about officiating. I just want to see about your thoughts on if officiating is an issue and how it can be improved, because clearly there seems to be problems or disconnect between what players and coaches feel and what officials actually call.
Several reasons make this story sound credible. First, the financial factor. WNBA players often earn a fraction of what top European clubs pay. For example, stars in Turkey or Russia can make 7 figures. Second, the off-season gap. Many WNBA players head overseas to stay sharp, so Clark exploring that path would be normal. Third, the injury angle. Playing limited minutes overseas in a controlled environment could help her rebuild confidence and strength. Fourth, leverage. The rumor alone pressures the WNBA to rethink player pay and scheduling.
WNBA and all the people that follow the WNBA and try to promote the WNBA don't understand that Caitlin Clark's game resonates with us. I say this every day, and every day I got to deal with somebody else dumb in the media. Caitlin Clark's game resonates because she's got flair, she's got flash, she's got style. I said this before, and I'll say this again. We saw Sue Bird's game. We saw Diana Taurasi's game. Kim Mulkey was Sue Bird before Sue Bird became Sue Bird. We've seen it.
Despite the buzz, there are reasons to doubt a full exit. Clark is under contract with the Indiana Fever and tied to multiple U.S.-based endorsement deals. Leaving the league entirely could harm her exposure, especially with brands like Nike, State Farm, and Gatorade centered around her U.S. presence, it's more plausible that she might join a European team briefly during the offseason, not abandon the WNBA altogether. Headlines calling it a departure exaggerate what might simply be a short-term overseas stint.
Here, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league besides Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston, she's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark could be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call...
If Clark did play in Europe, several top destinations stand out. Fenerbahce, Turkey, one of the most dominant EuroLeague teams, known for signing American stars. Spar Girona, Spain, offers a balance of competition and lifestyle appeal. Virtus Bologna, Italy, competitive league, passionate fans. LDLC Asvel, France, growing prominence with WNBA connections. European basketball emphasizes spacing, shooting, and tactical flow, a perfect fit for Clark's game. The competition would challenge her, but also expand her brand globally.
Cover the NBA. These people that play in the NBA. These people that cover the NBA. There, I said these people, all of you. Black, white, green, purple. Why don't you understand a very simple thing? Her game is dynamic. Like Diana Taurasi was like a jackass to Caitlin Clark. Why? Her game is what people are drawn to. And then you go to the personality. Her game is different than any WNBA woman ever. And she wins, and she shoots from deep. It's no different than Steph Curry. How many times we...
If Clark left, even temporarily, the Fever would face both strategic and financial setbacks. She's their cornerstone, their ticket seller, and the player around whom the roster was built. For the WNBA, the loss of its most marketable rookie, even for a season, would raise questions about pay equity and player satisfaction. Sponsors, networks, and fans all tuned in because of Clark's arrival. Her absence could dim that momentum. On the flip side, it might force league leadership to accelerate reforms, raising salaries or restructuring the schedule to prevent stars from leaving.
It's a gut punch that basically encompasses an entire season of them. The Fever have lost so many players to injury, but obviously none bigger than Clark. And there was such a wait for this second season after her magnificent rookie season. And then, you know, the anticipation of her possibly coming back, only for that not to happen, takes a lot of air out of the room, obviously takes a lot of energy out of the fans, and is a devastating blow for not just the Fever.
Moving abroad sounds glamorous, but it's demanding. Cultural differences, language barriers, and intense travel take a toll. The physicality in European leagues is also high. Clark would face tough, seasoned defenders every night. There's also risk of injury recurrence and burnout. Balancing national team duties, endorsements, and recovery would stretch her thin. Her team and agents would have to manage the move meticulously.
A two-time All-Star and the 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year has been sidelined suffering a right groin injury during the Fever's 87-77 win over the Connecticut Sun on July 15th. If you guys remember that game, Caitlin Clark put the team on her back in the winding minutes to give the Indiana Fever that lead. Clark also suffered a bone bruise at a later date during her recovery.
This situation highlights a deeper issue. Why do so many WNBA players feel the need to play abroad? It's primarily financial. Many earn more overseas than in the US, despite the WNBA's recent growth. Caitlin Clark's potential move symbolizes that tension. She's not just a player, she's a brand, an icon, and a symbol of women's sports progress. If even she considers Europe, it sends a strong message to league executives about the need for reform.
Has worked so hard throughout this time, doing everything possible to recover and return to the court, but ultimately, time is not on our side, said Indiana Fever COO and GM Amber Cox. While we wait, while we will continue working with Caitlin and provide her with every resource we have available, there is not enough time left in our season for her to safely return, and her long-term health and well-being remains our top priority. We are looking forward to having her back at full strength to start the 2026 season. Clark appeared in 13 games during the regular season, averaging 16.5 points, 8.8 assists, and 5 rebounds per game, while helping lead the team to the 2025 WNBA Commissioners.
Reactions are mixed. Some fans are furious, accusing the WNBA of wasting its brightest talent. Others understand, seeing it as Clark's right to explore her best opportunities. Social media is flooded with debates, memes, and predictions about where she might land. Die-hard Fever fans are anxious, while international fans are thrilled at the prospect of seeing her up close in European arenas. Either way, Clark continues to dominate headlines.
This is what Caitlin wrote. I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season. I spent hours in the gym every day with the singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. I want to thank everyone who had my back through all the uncertainty. This has been incredibly frustrating, but even in the bad, there is good. The way fans continue to show up for me in the Fever brought me so much joy and important perspective. I'm so proud of how this team has only gotten stronger through the adversity this year. Now it's time to close out the season and claim our...
If Stephanie White's comments are taken at face value, we can expect an announcement soon regarding Clark's plans for the 2026 off-season. That could mean signing with a EuroLeague team, joining an exhibition tour, or training overseas before returning to the WNBA. Until an official statement is made by Caitlin Clark or her agency, everything remains speculation. But where there's smoke, there's often fire, and this rumor has burned hotter than most.
Head Kathy Engelbert and the rest of the WNBA Players Association executive leadership who failed to hold officials and players accountable for the barbaric style of play the Fever and Caitlin Clark have had to endure this year. Kathy resigns.
Stephanie White's supposed confirmation about Caitlin Clark heading to Europe has stirred the basketball world. While not officially verified, the conversation exposes real concerns about the WNBA's economics and player welfare. Whether or not Clark actually leaves, her impact is undeniable. She's forced the league and the world to pay attention. If she plays overseas, it could globalize her influence even more. The future of women's basketball may be entering a new chapter, one where players like Caitlin Clark truly control their destiny.